Am I wrong for telling my sister her wedding was a disaster and she should have listened to me? Okay, buckle up. This is a long one, and I genuinely don't know if I'm the villain here or just the brutally honest messenger. My 32 female sister, Chloe, 29 female, got married last weekend. For context, Chloe is the free spirit of the family. She's into astrology, crystal healing, and making her own kombucha. I love her, but she lives in a slightly different reality. I'm more of a planner, a realist. When she got engaged to Mark, 30 male, a similarly lovely but equally ethereal guy, I was thrilled for her. Then the planning started. Chloe decided she wanted a truly authentic, untethered celebration of love. In practice, this meant 1. No set start time. The invitation said ceremony begins when the energy is right, sometime after sunset. 2. A potluck reception. She asked all 150 guests to bring a dish. It'll be a beautiful tapestry of our community's love, she said. 3. No designated wedding party. She didn't want to hierarchize love, so there were no bridesmaids or groomsmen, just a nebulous circle of support. 4. A symbolic officiant. Their friend, Zoe, who got ordained online 5 minutes prior, was to perform the ceremony. Zoe's only instruction was to speak from the heart. 5. The venue. A remote, beautiful field owned by a friend of a friend. No power, no plumbing, just the earth beneath our feet. I saw this, and my planner brain short-circuited. Gently, over months, I offered suggestions. Maybe have a few backup dishes in case? Should we rent some porta potties? What if it rains? Each time I was met with, "You're stifling the organic flow, Sarah. You need to trust the universe." The week of the wedding, the forecast predicted a 90% chance of thunderstorms. Chloe smiled serenely. The rain will cleanse and bless us. The day of, guests arrived confused. Sunset was at 8:15 p.m., but by 8:45, there was no sign of a ceremony. Chloe and Mark were doing a pre-union meditation in a tent. Elderly relatives were getting antsy on the borrowed picnic benches. The circle of support, aka me, our brother, and a few friends, tried to herd people, but with no plan, it was chaos. At 9:30 p.m., under a sky growing ominously dark, Chloe decided the energy was peaking. The ceremony began. Zoe, the officiant, was so nervous she forgot their names twice and went on a 20-minute tangent about the interconnectedness of mycelium networks. Half the guests were utterly lost. Then, the first thunderclap. It didn't just rain. It was a biblical downpour. The field turned into a mudslide within minutes. The sound system, powered by a dubious-looking generator, fizzed and died. People screamed, grabbing their potluck dishes, mostly now watery pasta salads, and running for their cars. The beautiful arch of wildflowers collapsed. Chloe and Mark stood soaked, their carefully chosen linen outfits plastered to them, exchanging vows shouted over the wind. It was less romantic and more scene from a disaster movie. The reception was a total loss. The few tents flooded. The mud claimed dozens of shoes. The tapestry of love was a soggy, chaotic mess of abandoned coolers and ruined food. People left in droves. We managed to herd the immediate family to a nearby barn the property owner had, where we shivered under horse blankets. The next day, Chloe was heartbroken. She kept saying, "I don't understand why the universe did this to us." She was crying, looking at photos of the mud pit that was her wedding site. Our family was tiptoeing around her, saying things like, "It was so uniquely memorable, and the love was still there." I'd had no sleep, was covered in mud, and had spent the last 12 hours fielding angry texts from guests who got stuck in the field. I was exhausted and, frankly, frustrated. As she lamented for the 10th time about the universe's betrayal, I snapped. "Chloe," I said, my voice tired but firm. "The universe didn't do this. A predictable low-pressure system did. This wasn't a beautiful, organic disaster. It was a disaster. People were cold, hungry, and miserable. Your wedding was a logistical nightmare, and it didn't have to be. I love you, and I wanted this day to be perfect for you, but you built a house of cards in a hurricane and are shocked it blew over. You should have listened to any of the practical advice people offered you. Silence. Then, Chloe burst into fresh tears. My mom shot me a death glare. Sarah, how could you? She's devastated. Mark looked at me with disappointment. We wanted it to be real, Sarah. Not some sterile, cookie-cutter event. You just don't get it. Now, the family is split. My brother and some cousins who also got stuck in the mud think I'm a hero for saying what everyone was thinking. My parents, Mark's family, and Chloe's spiritual friends think I'm a cruel, negative bully who kicked her while she was down. They say I ruined the memory for her by stating the obvious, and that my job was to support her vision, not critique it after the fact. Chloe isn't speaking to me. She says I vibrationally polluted her wedding memory with my negative energy. So, Reddit, am I wrong for telling my sister the hard truth about her wedding disaster, or should I have just lied and said it was beautiful like everyone else? Update. First, thank you to everyone who responded. The judgment was not wrong, with a strong side of everyone sucks here for my timing. The top comments nailed it. I was right in principle, but delivering a harsh truth in the raw, emotional aftermath of a disaster was an a-hole move. The phrase right fight, wrong time really stuck with me. A lot of you suggested that Chloe's reaction was less about the rain and more about the shame and embarrassment of her trust the universe philosophy publicly failing. That was a light bulb moment for me. I'd been seeing it as a logistical failure, but for her it was a spiritual and personal one. Here's what happened after the post. The silent treatment continued. For another week, there was nothing. No calls, no texts. It was painful. I respected her space, but sent one text, I love you. I'm here when you're ready to talk. The intervention from Mom, our mom, who had been playing peacemaker, finally sat Chloe down. She didn't rehash the fight, but showed her some of the lighter sides of the aftermath. Photos guests had sent, my uncle using a napkin as a makeshift hat, a friend's heroic rescue of the cake, now lopsided, everyone laughing, somewhat hysterically, in the barn. She also gently mentioned that 3 guests ended up with bad colds. The breakthrough, Chloe showed up at my door last Saturday. No call, just like that. She looked tired. The first thing she said was, I'm not ready to say you were right. I said, my timing was terrible. We made tea and just sat for a bit. Then she started talking. She admitted she'd been reading the subreddit. A friend had shown her my post and the comments. She said reading thousands of people call her irresponsible was brutal, but reading the ones that explained why, the guest safety, the respect for their time and effort, finally got through to her. She said she'd been so focused on manifesting her perfect day that she failed to plan for her real day, and in doing so, she'd been a poor hostess. The big admission? I was so embarrassed, she confessed. Not just because of the mud and the rain, but because you were right all along, and I treated your concern like an insult. I felt stupid. And then when you said it was predictable, it felt like you were just rubbing it in. I apologized profusely for my timing. I admitted my delivery was a I told you so. Where we are now, we're talking. It's still a little stiff, but the ice is broken. The newlyweds agreed to a rain check her words with a wry smile on the wedding celebration. We're planning a small, indoor barbecue for the families and close friends who got drenched, as a proper thank you. Her husband, who was initially cold towards me, is coming around now that he sees us communicating. The lesson for both of us, Chloe, is learning that trusting the universe works better when paired with and also pack an umbrella. I'm learning that being the pragmatic older sister doesn't give me a license to administer tough love in the middle of a crisis. Our relationship has a new crack in it, but we're both slowly working on filling it. The trust will take time to rebuild. So, final verdict? The internet was right. I was the a-hole for when I said it. She was the a-hole for how she planned it. We're both trying to be less a-hole-ish going forward. Thanks, Reddit.